Can you kind of like share a little bit of numbers that you've done, like biggest days on sort of the bid cap stuff?
I think the highest on like a single offer was like, I think around like 9K profit in a day on a bid cap, just one campaign, one offer. In total, like aggregate though, like probably like 12K profit in a
Nice.
day.
All right, guys, we have another one for you. I know this is big business. We have done 2 so far. This is our second podcast in a long time. V, are you ready?
I'm good for it. Let's go.
All right. For those of you who don't know, this is Vivek Gupta. I've never said his last name till now. I mostly just call him V, to be honest. So here we are, full name. You know what I was thinking though? I like your name, man. I like Vivek. Like I've never heard that before. And maybe that's an ignorant white person thing to say, but like I've
No.
never heard Vivek before and I like it. What is it?
It's Indian. So it's actually super common in India, but it's pronounced Vivek. But then, yeah, most people just call me V most of the time.
So, man, that's interesting because like in Vancouver, we got a lot of Indians. And I've never met or heard of Vivek.
Really?
A lot of like Ashdeepers or
Oh, yeah.
Sundeeps and stuff like that, you know?
Right.
But
Right.
never Vivek. But I like it, man. So are you half Indian?
Yeah, half Indian and half
Nice.
white.
Yeah.
Came out half and half.
Awesome,
Okay.
man. Cool.
Yeah, we also have Vivek Ramaswamy, that guy who's like trying to run for president. So that kind of helped with people getting familiar with that name.
Ah, got it.
Yeah,
Got it. I don't follow my politics as much as I should, except for the Trump
I don't-
stuff that I just get pounded with, you know?
Right, right.
I'm just here for the comments on the Trump posts on Instagram. You know,
Yeah,
just like, it's like half of them are just like, hell yeah. Half of them are just like, you ruined this country. Anyway, man. So I want to bring you on here because you've kind of made a big like dent in the space in a good way. I feel like, I think that like realistically, you've probably done it for about a year, maybe a little bit more than a year. And dude, you've created great communities. You have really networked like a motherfucker and like you're everywhere and it's great, man. And I think that like it's a big key to your success. So Vivek came through my course. He was doing okay. And then he just like had a big burst of profit, I guess you could say. And I think it came right around the time that he started networking. So I thought there was huge value in that. And I kind of wanted to jump on here and sort of like just talk about that and kind of talk about your story and path to how you got to where you're at now. Yeah. So give me the rundown, bro. How'd you find this space?
I think, I don't know how far I should go back, but I was trying to do dropshipping stuff before this. Kind of just kept failing at that. I actually bought your course, I think, like 2 years prior.
Oh shit.
So yeah, it was like the old edition. So I went through that.
Nice.
I watched like all the modules and everything, but then I ended up just not doing anything with it. I was just
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
just like, I think it was because I had a product pop off in dropshipping. It did like, I think like 25K in rev, like sub like 5K profit. But I was like, oh snap, it's working. So let me like go back to that and stick with that. And then I just kept struggling from then on, mostly losing money. And then I think like a year later from that, I was like scrolling through my Facebook and then I see like a group coaching call for your course again. And I was like, oh snap, it's like still around. It still exists. I was like, let me just hop in and check it out. Those courses come up and disappear like from time to time. So
for sure. And honestly, on that first one, so you bought it when it was cheaper, when it was like $1,000 and it was a much smaller course. And I didn't do coaching at that time. So did you only buy the $1,000 course?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So the people who actually bought the $1,000 course got the better deal, I think, because now I gave the new version to everyone and I said like, hey, we're doing coaching calls now. So like my OG guys got the full deal for a discounted rate. But yeah, man, that's cool. That's really cool. So from there, did you jump on the call?
Yeah. So I saw that in the group and I jumped on. I was like, let me check out what these lead gen guys are up to, And then I showed up to that one and I just kept showing up and just by osmosis, like I was hearing some of the numbers the guys were doing. I was just like, I've been feeling like drop shipping for a while. Let me hop on this, try this out. And originally I was just trying to do both kind of at the same time. And then I was like, I just need to go all in on like one thing. And I know this is working right now. And there's actually like a course and community that I like have here. So let me just drop the drop shipping stuff and go all in on lead gen. And that's pretty much what I did.
That's amazing, man. Was there who kind of like stuck out to you in that group and kind of got you like fired up with their numbers?
I think definitely like Naz and
Nice.
then Robert. There's a couple guys in there that were like, doing pretty big numbers and
Yeah.
like thinking about it and talking
Yeah.
about it. It's like, okay, it works. Like it's there.
Yeah.
So just got to stick to the process and make it happen.
RIP to Naz. He used to show up on all the calls, and then he started figuring out how to make money, and then he just didn't show up anymore.
Yeah. That happens a
I
lot of yeah.
yeah. I asked him, I was like, hey bro, do you want to be on the podcast? He's like, nah, man. He's like, I just want to like make money in silence in the background. I was like, all right, bro, that's fair. I
Yeah.
can't really hold that against you. So well, that's cool, man. Okay, so let's talk about kind of from that point. And then so I think like when you came through the course, you started trying that, you started jumping on the calls. You didn't really have any huge success out of the gate, right? Like you were having like maybe a couple $100 profit days here and there and stuff like that. What was the big transition from like that to like where you're at now?
Yeah. So actually, I think I think I joined or I started actually like participating like end of September
Got it.
2023. Showing up to the calls, all that, and then was like slowly easing into it. I think for like the first like 2 months, I was just dealing with like high CPMs, like
Mm-hmm.
there's like home service stuff. And then beginning of New Year, everything dropped, and I was like, actually, okay, fun story. First month, I blew like $1,200 because I didn't know how to place my affiliate link correctly.
Oh,
Like
wow.
so I clicked the link that the AM sent me, and then I pasted like the end URL into the LP
Mm,
like button. So I wasn't sending any clicks to like the actual offer page. And I was looking at my tracker. I didn't even know like what I was supposed to be
yeah.
looking at until like a buddy was like, yo, like let me see your stuff. Cause I told him like, hey, I just blew like $1,200, like 0 leads. And he was just like, dude, there's like no traffic coming to your offer page. I was like, oh crap. Okay. Like,
I mean, to a person who's not used to this, like I can see that's like an honest mistake though, you know, because just like
yeah,
here's your link, and you're just like, why would I want to run this weird jumbled link when I can just run the one that looks correct?
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had no idea, but then you live and you learn as you go.
yeah. And I mean, like that $1,200 is probably hurt a little bit too, especially in the beginning,
Oh
right?
yeah. In the very beginning, I was like, dude, this is rough, man. Like I can't believe
Yeah,
I can't get, like a single lead here.
yeah,
Yeah, and then I think so beginning of the year I started getting leads after like I fixed my link issue, and then I wasn't profitable at that point. It was more of just like slight loss, break even. And then I think beginning of what was it, like February, I did like a first like 1K day at like $300 profit. And then it was
nice.
kind of up and down. I was doing like that was kind of like the peak of it. I was doing
Yeah.
like $100 here, kind of like negative the next day. It's kind of up and down. And then
Were you doing the dupe method for that? Is that why?
yeah, I was just doing like ABOs, just
Yeah,
like ABO, single ad, testing a lot. Actually, not
yeah,
like
yeah,
I think so the big turnaround was really when I started using like CBOs and bid caps, just because with that I could test more and not necessarily like lose as much as doing like ABO auto bid and like everything in its own ad set.
yeah,
I could just keep packing basically CBO with creative and also just test more offers. That was a huge thing, just testing more offers and more creative, and then
yeah.
just finding combinations and just scaling up what's working pretty much.
That's interesting. So, how did you come across like the bid cap stuff? Because to be fair, like I was mostly teaching just like, hey, run ABOs, highest volume sort of
Right,
stuff,
right.
and then you start hearing about bid caps coming into the scene, and a lot of people using it. A lot of ecom guys were using it, and now it's kind of transitioned to the point where most lead gen guys are using a bid cap strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was on your coaching call. I really heard about it like for the first time from Joel. He mentioned seeing some guys like Facebook posts. I think it was an
Yeah,
ecom guy who owned like
yeah,
agents. I'm pretty sure it was Andre.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, he mentioned it on the call, and I was like, dude, that sounds amazing. Like if you can actually do that for lead gen. So I hit him up after. He sent me some resources like the Facebook group, and then I think there was like a YouTube channel from some other guy.
mhm,
I started going on the rabbit hole on just like running bid caps out of the gate from the start. So I found Andre guy, Andrew J. Ferris. There's a guy, Nabil Khan, on Twitter as well, who's like starting from scratch with like bid caps or cost cap on ecom stores. And
yeah,
then there was some other guy, I forgot his name off the top of my head, but
Mhm.
so it's like, all right, it's possible. Like, you guys are doing this, so let me try this for lead gen and see how it goes. First bid cap I ran, it took like, I think it spent like $2 in like 4 days. And then like day five, it finally spent like $25 of like, I think I
Yeah.
said it like 50 or something.
Yeah.
And then I think it started to take more and more of the budget. So it was like, I didn't know how it was going to work or react
Yeah.
how I was testing it. Yeah. And then I started getting the profit though. Like it was like $50, $100 here and there. And then once I got proof of concept, like, okay, I can test with this method. Then I just started going to town and just like pumping out creative, pumping out offers, just testing everything I possibly could
Yeah.
and like find stuff that works that way and just
That
keep working, like, keep running what's working and scale it up.
that's amazing, man. Can you kind of like share a little bit of numbers that you've done, like kind of biggest days on sort of the bid cap stuff? Because I think it
Yeah.
just adds credibility to it when people add numbers to it as well. So that's why I asked.
Yeah. So I think like the highest day so like, I guess there's like single offer and then running multiple offers. Cause right now,
Yeah.
like I have been running like a lot of offers simultaneously,
Yeah.
even verticals. But I think like the highest on like a single offer was like, I think around like 9K profit in a day on a bid cap, like just one campaign, one offer.
Yeah.
Yeah. In total, like aggregate though, like probably like 12K profit in a
Nice.
day. Like
Nice.
it's just a little under that. But
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I think is really cool though is like you're consistently profitable. Like you never really have losing days. Like in the last, let's call it like 4 months, how many days do you think you've lost money?
so I'll say since I started like actually making good money, I'd probably say like 4, maybe 5 max, like actual negative days.
Yeah. Is that like due to like either like heavy testing or like Facebook breaking?
Yeah, so one like the biggest negative day was like negative 800. So in the grand scheme of things, that's not like a
Not
lot, a
bad at
lot.
all. No.
Yeah, and that was just because like there was a campaign that I was already running and I added in some new targeting within like an existing campaign, and just the spend just blew all through that one ad set with
Got
that new
it.
targeting. And like,
Got
yeah,
it.
this was overnight. I made the change, so I woke up in the morning. I was like, oh crap, okay. Like,
Yeah. Oh
but other
shit,
than that,
man.
usually it's not that bad. Like maybe like a negative 200, like negative $300
Dude.
day. And this is across like a ton of different like offers and campaigns running. So it's like not that bad.
I think that's pretty huge in this space to say that like you don't really have losing days because I mean, from my experience, you usually have some like pretty heavy losses going into an offer, trying to figure it out and stuff like that, and then it's consistent and it'll make up those losses. But to say that you like have had
Right.
maybe like 5 losing days and let's call it like 6 months or whatever you want to call it is very impressive, especially in this space. I think so. Congrats on that, man. That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
To dive into the bid cap stuff a little bit more, do you mind sharing like sort of like your strategy? I think it's unique to how a lot of people run on some level. And as we know, there's no rocket science to Facebook. It really comes down to creative and stuff like that. But I do think your structure is really cool. And I think people will get a lot of value from sort of hearing about how you set it up, sort of start to finish, and how you think
Yeah,
about what to bid and bid caps and stuff like that. So
for sure. Yeah. I was watching on Andrew J. Ferris and I kind of just went with his approach.
yeah,
Like there's some people that do like ABO bid cap and stuff like that. I just went with kind of his thing of just doing one big CBO basically.
yeah,
And then, so really it is just CBO campaign. Instead of turning on highest volume, you just switch it to big cap. And then I'll have as many ad sets as necessary. And then he does like 5 to 6 ads per ad set. I'm doing around like 10 usually roughly. It's
yeah.
not like super precise. Maybe there's like 12 or 15 in there. I've heard people going up to like 50 per ad set. So I don't know how much it actually matters, but I've just been sticking to that around 10. And then for the bid, I usually set it a little bit higher than the payout.
Yeah.
I kind of guesstimate like 20 to like 50% on the higher end. And that's just to kind of get like that initial momentum. Because if you set it like at payout, it's going to be probably a lot slower, which is what I originally did when I first started bid caps. And it took like 5 days to finally get really any spend out of it. So now I set a little bit higher, and that helps to just like ramp it up quicker.
Mhm. Yeah.
And sometimes I just leave the bid at that higher rate. Like
Yeah.
I don't really see it as like this bid is going to equal this CPA because I just don't know what it's going to like. It's more, I think about it more as like a slider or like a tap for water. Like the higher
Yeah.
the bid, the more it's going to flow. The like less the bid, typically the less it's going to flow. The dynamic of that can change though based on the quality of the creative, like how good is your creative. So if you have
Yeah.
a banger creative, you can get away with a lower bid and still pump a lot of volume out from that.
I would 100% agree with that because like, so for example, on my debt stuff, let's say I get paid out like 40 flat rate, but it's like, it's set to like 70, my bid, and it still holds profit at that level. I didn't calculate it by any magical way. It just took that much for me to get traffic on it. And then it just worked kind of out of that gate at that rate. So I've been holding it there. And I notice when I do lower it, it just really throttles the campaign quite a bit. So it just stays at 70 forever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like a throttle. You got to play around with it and see it just what flows basically for you.
Yeah. So simple structure, CBO campaign, bid cap, 1 ad set, 10 ads. In those 10 ads, you're generally doing the same creative in sense of like either the same like video or same image, and then you're trying a whole bunch of different copies.
So usually I'm just doing the same copy, same headline,
Got it.
then images or video. I have been testing more though, of doing like different copies, usually taking like, if something's already working, I might just dupe it out a bunch of times and change the copy and such, just to see if that makes any difference. I have noticed that some of that will get like lower CPLs. May not get all the spend, but it kind of adds up, I think, just getting this extra stuff at a lower CPL coming through.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're not even like creating a testing campaign or anything like that. You're just using one CBO for everything at this point.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Exactly. Like
how many like ad sets and ads are in these CBOs?
It's gonna vary, obviously, but like the higher end, like 30 something on the higher end.
30 ads or ad sets?
Ad sets. So then ads is like 300 plus, something like that.
Amazing.
But I'll usually go in like after maybe like 2.5 weeks and start turning off some of the ad sets.
Yeah.
It's not really getting any spend. I try to wait at least 2 weeks though, because I have noticed with bid caps at least, sometimes creative can take a while to pop off in there. Like you'll put something in there and then like a week and a half later, all of a sudden starts just taking a bunch of spend and like super profitable. And if you had turned it off before, you would have missed that. But I don't know if that's like only with bid caps, or I haven't really tested the auto bid CBOs in a while, but I'm assuming those are here with that. But
yeah. Interesting. I've definitely seen that too. It's crazy when like a creative's just been like dead weight forever, and then all of a sudden it's like your most profitable ad just out of nowhere. It's odd. Cool, man. And then like, sorry, I'm kind of grilling you here just because I think that there's so much value, and I feel a lot of people have been sort of struggling with the CBO stuff and the bid cap stuff. So I think it's good to dig into it.
Yeah.
I also feel that like the topic of it has been beat to death in like group chats and calls and everything like that. So I just like, I want to get it out there. Be like, listen to this, So, okay, cool. You got your creative is standing out in there. It's working great. Like, so what's your way to scale? Because there's different ways to do it. Some people just like crank the budget in theory that the bid will throttle your spend, right? But you've kind of noticed something different in terms of like the CBO itself is ready to spend, and then that's when you start sort of surfing it, correct?
Right. So it's all based on like how much spend it's taking. Like let's say you have it at $1,000 a day in budget, and if it's taking that full budget, you have extra room to just crank up budget on it. So I would just add budget in that scenario. If it's not really taking the full daily budget, like let's say it's spending like 500 or 600 out of that 1,000, but you are at like a pretty good ROI, I would say maybe like 50% plus.
Yeah.
This is all like rough guesstimate. It's really going to come down to testing, but you could try to raise your bid a little bit higher to see if that will spend more and still keep your ROI pretty high, just to get more volume. So it's really just playing around with, I think, the bid once. If you have good ROI and it's not taking all the spend, I might play around with the bid. If the ROI is not that great, and it's not taking all the spend still, then I think it's just creative. Like you just got to play around with your creative still. It's kind of just, like a dynamic you got to play around with.
What I find in this, and I'm sure because you've helped a lot of people too, is that a lot of people are looking for exact steps on how to do this, but really it's like you're just pushing buttons, trying things, see what works, see what holds, right? Like there's no like do this, you do this, like I think that one thing that's interesting that I've learned as with like having teams and stuff, it's like you really want to make like SOPs and stuff for your company and your media buyers and stuff like that. But like realistically, there's kind of like an art and gut feeling to this kind of this shit, you know? And you just have to,
Yeah.
you just kind of try stuff and break it and then learn the hard way realistically.
So-
And just because it works once for you doesn't mean it's always going to work the next time for you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so many variables. It's super hard to like give an exact answer for everything.
Yeah, I agree, man. All right. So, I mean, like that was basically like a full case study on exactly how you do shit, which is fantastic, man. I really appreciate that. So now that you've kind of like mastered getting profitable, making money on Facebook, what's sort of your next steps in terms of like where you want to take this business, where you want to go in this industry? And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still figuring out every day. So for the most part, I've been more like horizontally scaled out, like across multiple offers, multiple verts. So one thing I'm kind of looking at right now is more hammering down with focus on fewer verticals. Just because you have limited capacity, especially with like the creative side and everything. And just focus, like when you're making scripts and just making ads, it's like a lot more challenging to make it for multiple verticals all at the same time. And just from talking with a lot of the bigger guys, they usually focused on 1 to 2 verts max a lot of the time, and just like hammering that with creative and optimizing it to the max that you can take it pretty much. So it's a big step in direction that I'm trying to go towards. Within the lead gen space. I was also looking at e-com a little bit. That's more of just like on the fence. I'm just like, looking at it.
Grass is always greener, right?
Yeah. But I'm still wanting to double down on lead gen first. It's still the primary focus. Just like I love the business model. It's just more simple moving parts. You're just focusing on ad and just securing good offers.
Is there any niches that you're kind of like excited about? And I mean, if you don't have to say if you don't want to, I'm just more curious what you're thinking. Cause I think about this all the time and I'm like, do we go hard at one niche or do we just sort of like spread it out and see what sort of stands out?
So I think a guy told me a really good quote, which was, I probably messed it up. He was saying that like, basically whatever you focus on, or like whatever you water is going to grow.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think like you could technically make almost any vertical work at a pretty decently high level. It's just a matter of like, what are you willing to stick with long enough and focus on and like master right to the next level, which I think you probably can, because a lot of people are kind of spread out as well and trying to do multiple things at once. So if you can just be that guy that's just focused on that one thing and just mastering it to the next level.
To be fair, it's kind of tough in this industry because like the shiny object syndromes are a real thing, right? Because you go to like ASW and you're just like, oh, Chuck over there just did like $100,000 in 2 days on auto insurance, and then Doug over there just did like $250 last month on ACA, and just like, oh, this guy did $1 million on like VSLs, you know? So it's really easy to be pulled in a million different directions, but you don't know how much focus those guys put on those offers. And I think that like now we're in a time where you definitely have to work harder than you did 5 years ago in this space. You really have to be good at creatives. You really have to test like a shit ton of creatives to get to the point where you can scale these campaigns. Like how many creatives do you think you have to test before you break a campaign?
So for like initial like traction, like it's going to vary, but I could probably get it down to like 20 to 30 to get like initial.
Solid.
Yeah. But that's not meaning like I'm scaling the crap out of it, but like, that's just like, because especially with the bid caps, it's like you can get to like 100, 150, $200 profit a day pretty easily. Like there's a guy, you know, Jed, right? Like he started a group like 2 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Now he's doing like a couple $100 profit a day. Like, like I struggled for like 8 months. And this guy just comes in, he's like already profitable. All right.
You know what's funny? So he's friends with my buddy Brian Higgins. They're both from Victoria, BC. And I didn't know this, and Jed didn't tell me this. I don't know if Jed will like me sharing this, but whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But apparently he sold his car to buy my course and start this industry.
Oh, no way.
And I'm like, dude, that's dedication. Like, that's amazing. I'm like, and Jed probably is gonna hear this eventually, but I didn't know that. But then I was talking to Brian. I was like, bro, you should just like partner up with this kid or hire this kid or whatever. Like that's like that in itself is amazing. And he's like, oh, he's already profitable. And I was like, oh yeah, he doesn't need you. Like you missed your opportunity, man.
Yeah.
But dude, like that's cool to me. Like whenever I hear stuff like that, I'm like, this guy's going places. Like he's gonna figure it out.
100%. Yeah,
Well, I guess he already did. That's awesome. But dude, that's pretty amazing though that it takes you like 30 creatives. So do you think it takes you 30 creatives now that you have the skill set and you kind of know what converts? But like, let's say we go back like, even when you started doing bid caps, how many creatives do you think you were testing then, or is it the same?
No, I think I definitely was testing more at that point. I think, yeah, it's also as you go, you just get better and you kind of like know what works and what doesn't
Yeah.
work. Just like you already have like a kind of gut feeling like, all right, this is gonna have a higher chance of working than anything else.
Yeah.
I think like when I first started, I tested like 300 video ads or something, and like none of it like stuck when I
Yeah.
was first like starting in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I started testing some image ads, and I got like a little bit of traction with that.
Yeah. Do you
And then
prefer image or video?
I think I like them both. For right now, I think video is driving a lot more volume for me,
Got it.
but I still do run images from time to time.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to have a good blend in there.
Yeah.
Just different people convert on different styles of ads.
Different delivery, right? Like I feel like you're hitting a
Yeah.
completely different audience, right? Like Facebook knows or Instagram knows when people are going to actually sit down and watch a reel versus when they're just like going to skip over it and plow
Right.
through, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said on the call last night, like I'm pro image only due to laziness. And I feel like I can move quicker with it, you know?
Oh, 100%.
So, yeah. All right. So you're focusing on a couple niches. You're going to try and grow that out. Are you going to start building a team? I know you hired your brother recently.
Oh no, he was just kind of interested. He's not like on the team or anything.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna bring him on full time, man. I mean, he was there at his first ASW. I saw him very hungover. He got to witness that firsthand. So yeah. So are you gonna hire a team then? You gonna build one out?
I already do have like a few players, or like a few like hires.
Yeah.
Right now,
Outsourcers mostly, right?
yeah, like VAs. I have
Yeah.
like video editors and ad uploader guys. So I've just been kind of like gradually like
Yeah.
building it out as necessary, basically.
Yeah.
Like as I'm like pain points and bottlenecks, I'm just like, all right, I need a video editor. All right, now I have all these creative and I have to upload it, and it's taking so much time. Then we get the ad
Dude,
uploader.
yeah.
So it's just finding each step of like, all right, this is a problem. Let me hire a guy for this kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I just grabbed coast.ai. So I'm hoping that like solves my uploading problems here. Cause it's just like, yeah, it's just so time consuming launching a shit ton of ads, you know? I feel like that's probably the bottleneck in terms of speed for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd rather spend that time focusing on creatives than like just uploading ads for like 2 hours, you know? It's like,
yeah.
waste of time.
I was having this conversation the other day, and I think I've mentioned it before, but I think once I have permanent residency here in the US, I will open up an office and just have sort of a couple juniors around, because I just think that I can grow so much faster with that. And I kind of miss having an office and just having interaction with people. So
Yeah, for sure.
But for now, I just have to use a software that uploads for me. Yeah. Yeah, man. All right. So we've kind of talked about that. What's kind of your big plan with the industry? So let's say like, do you plan on just sticking, and I know you're kind of fresh to it, but I like to ask this question, like, is this a segue to a bigger thing? Like I think of affiliate marketing and lead gen and stuff like that as it's kind of like an ATM once you figure it out for money. And most people take that money and move it into something bigger and then get out of the space and do other things. Is that kind of your game plan? Or right now, are you just kind of just rolling with it, growing the team out, see how much damage you can do in this space?
Yeah, definitely. I'm probably, just sticking with it for right now.
Yeah.
Hammer as hard as I can. I just want to maximize the opportunity available to me, because I know like when you shift away, it's like it takes time to learn something new.
Yeah.
Like whatever new business venture. So it's not like you're instantly making money.
Yeah.
So I'd rather hammer what I already know for now.
Yeah.
Maybe like look at ecom route for something that I can own, like some sort of back end.
Yeah.
Also kind of incongruency with what I'm doing right now, which is just running ads, driving traffic, except now I just have a back end with like a supply chain agent or something.
Yeah.
But still, I just love like the simplicity of lead gen with just sending traffic and getting paid, basically.
It's nice, right? Especially like someone that's like younger like you, man. You can kind of travel, go wherever you need to go, network, do all that shit. And
I've done so much
laptop. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know?
Like since I started in the space, really, like I would never really travel that much. And then once I
Yeah.
started, this is just like so much traveling, like going to different events, like hanging out at masterminds.
Yeah.
Uh, Definitely a good time for sure.
Yeah. Bro, you young guys travel a lot. Like I swear, like so if you go back and like I'm just dating myself here, but like if you go back like 5 years, there wasn't this many like masterminds or events or anything. And now I feel like there's almost something every like second week or month that you can literally go to. All of which I think are beneficial as long as you utilize it. But I think that like some of these guys are just going to these events just to go to events and like hang out, you know, which is fine. I just would
Yeah,
never get anything done.
that's true. That's true. I think it's a nice balance. I do think it helps though, like going to some of these events and masterminds, just like
Yeah.
it's like different when you hear somebody doing big numbers and then like you being next to them and then
Yeah.
like, you knowing that they're doing big numbers and it's like, why can't I do big numbers? You know, kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just makes it feel more real too. Like I remember going to ASC, like that was like my first event that I
Hmm.
ever went to. And so I wasn't even planning on going. It was just like, I think Tyler, this was before I even had like, I think I was just getting traction,
Yeah.
making like $100 profit a day or something. And then
Yeah.
Tyler was like, hey man, going to like ASW or yeah, I think it was, no, ASC, sorry, ASC. And
ASC, New
I was
York.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, no. And he's just like, hey man, if you really want to make this a serious business, you should definitely go. And I was like, all right. So I ended up booking a ticket and like no regrets. It was like one of the best experiences I've ever had because it just opened my mind to like what was possible in the space. Like
Yeah.
I remember walking to, I think it was like the Edition bar or something.
Yeah.
And like Carter's there and he's like, yeah, man, I made just like 50K a day. He was talking to some other guy, like 50K profit today. And I was just
Yeah.
like, what? Like, this is like,
Yeah.
it's here like the level that people are at.
If you're not
Uh,
in this space, it seems foreign. Like it seems like it's a lie, right? Like or it's
yeah,
a big scam, you know? Like you guys are just like robbing old ladies for dollars, you know? Like
yeah,
um the numbers are wild, man, but like yeah,
100%. Yeah.
it's cool to see that. I also feel that like the face-to-face stuff not only motivates you hearing it directly, but also it's a lot easier to have good conversations with great people. When you're behind the computer just peppering people for questions on shit, like eventually they're just going to get annoyed with you. Be like, I don't know you, man. Like, go away. But if you're hanging out with someone and you have that connection with someone, like they're way more open, way more happy to help.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sure.
there's huge value in that for sure, man.
That's why I also like the group calls that you were doing. Like that was like super helpful for me when I was starting out. Just being able to have, it's almost like there's a couple things. Like one thing is like accountability. It's like you show up to this call and it's like, what did I get done this week? Because you're asking
Yeah.
for updates. So you're like, how's it going, man? You're in the profit? And it's like, no, I
Yeah.
didn't do anything this week. And it's like, I need to do something now. So I have something to say. And then also just hearing guys like talk about their numbers, like it just keeps you motivated as well. Just knowing like it's still working. Because you can get into a rut when you're just starting out and like nothing's working for you. And it's like, does this even work? Like, is this legit? You know? And then you just show up. It's that consistent feedback that you
Yeah.
get week after week.
Dude, that I've never heard that, nor did I ever think about it because like I don't on the accountability front. Like I'm more just asking you just out of curiosity to see where you're at, to like see if you had any wins or like kind of see where you're at, see if you have any struggles that you need help with. But the accountability point's like a very valid one, man. But I've never thought of myself in a position to keep you guys accountable, but that's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to start doing that more then. Cause like, I agree that I would love accountability in my life on that shit. That's why I hire a coach, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
if you don't have anyone
Then,
asking what you're doing.
yeah, right. And then also brings up your bottlenecks because then you start saying like, all right, this is where I'm at, this is
Yeah.
happening. And then it's like, all right, man, you can just do this, X, Y, Z. And then it's like, okay, let me go try that and then follow up next week. Like I did that, this happened, whatever.
Oh, dope. Man, I'm going to do that more. Thank you for that feedback, man. I've never heard that before. So that's cool. I've been doing this shit for a bit. Yeah. So on that point, man, I really want to kind of dig into your networking because there's few people in this space that do it really well. I would say that you have been one of them. So what was kind of like your thoughts going into this? You started showing up for the calls. That kind of kicked off your networking a little bit, but I would say like past that, you've really expanded it. Like you have this Telegram group now that's absolutely insane. You do your own weekly calls, which is really cool. How did you get to that point? Or what were you searching for?
So I think, I mean, it was all like organic process. Like it wasn't like I predetermined all of this or anything.
Yeah.
The first thing was just like, I made it a point to show up to those calls every single week. Like that was a huge part just because I wanted that accountability and just like to absorb every little piece of knowledge that I could get. And actually, before I even hopped on the calls, I think I watched like majority of the prior ones, and
Nice.
I basically like almost transcribed almost every single one of them just by
Oh
taking.
shit.
I have like an 80-page doc of just like notes from all these different calls, just to absorb like the mindset of like what are different approaches, how are people like what are people testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, showing up to calls is a big thing. Like I write it in my weekly planner to show up, cross it off, rewatch the call the next day, and take notes. And then from there, it's just like you hear what people are doing, you just follow up with them after the calls. You know, you're just like, hey, like I heard you talk about this. Could you explain more? Things like that.
Actually making the effort to reach out to people. Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just asking people like most people are pretty friendly and like are down to help you out as much as
Yeah.
they can. Obviously, like they're not going to give you their ads and stuff, but like,
Yeah.
you know, just a lot of people are willing to help guide you along the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a huge thing. And then like I think the combination of those calls and then networking around people in the group, I was able to get like, initial traction, initial profit, and then from there, there's almost like a similar approach to what Carter did. I don't know if you heard his podcast about networking. Like I was watching that, I think even before I started doing this, but well, I was posting content on Instagram, like just kind of posting and sharing the journey of like I did like my first like I don't know like $300 profit day, like $500
Yeah.
profit day, and then I remember posting like I did my first $900 profit day, and I was like I'm so close to 1K.
Yeah.
And I was also trying to share a little bit of value, like what I'm doing, like I'm doing like bid caps, I'm doing this,
Yeah.
and like I started getting more followers from that, from just posting like this is what I'm doing, like this is like my journey. And a lot of people hit me up, be like, yeah, this is inspiring and stuff. And like that was a big reason why I posted as well, was just because like just seeing the numbers and like knowing that it's real was a big
Yeah.
was a big thing to help push me forward, especially when you're running the problems. Because there's so many different problems that can happen, like ad account rejections, ad account goes down, you get cut off from an offer, whatever. Like there's like so many different things that can happen. So it really helped to just keep pushing me forward. So I like sharing that as well, motivated.
Nothing gets engagement like posting profit numbers, you know, like that.
Yeah,
That in itself is like it's wild.
Yeah. I try to push a little bit of value with it as well.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to just post my numbers and be like, "I here's my numbers." Like, because there's guys doing like 10x. Like it's just
100%.
like
Yeah.
it's like looking back at my numbers, I'm just like, dude, these are actually very very small. Like this is not much. Like just like.
But you got to remember, man, like it's small now, but it's very like it's big then. Like you got to think like the average younger person, like $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month is like very solid, you know, like that's enough for them to get out of their shitty job or whatever it is they're doing, you know, and really like kind of live their own lives. So it's tough, man. I feel like we're in an industry where it's our idea of like what big money is so massive.
It's skewed now. Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's other industries that they look at our level and just like, that's like fucking nothing, you know, but it's, you have to like kind of take a step back every once in a while and be like, okay, like so many people just like want to work from home, be with their families, not have to work these shitty 9-to-5 jobs. And so like those little numbers to us are like, are freedom to a lot of other people.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I remember getting in the space, like beginning of January. I think my goal was like to do like a 10K profit month.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like if I could do a 10K profit month, that would be insane. Like I'd be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And,
You're rich.
And then I had like a wallpaper on my phone saying to like do like a 1K profit day.
Yeah.
I just need to do like enough of those to hit a 10K a month. And now it's like a 10K a month is like, that's just like horrible. Like that would be like very bottom. Like you're just like scraping by kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, like your perspective changes as you go. But yeah, definitely looking back, like that would have been like, it's just crazy to think about. I remember hearing the call, like people say like, oh yeah, just like 3K profit today. And I remember like when I didn't have any traction, I was like, holy crap. Like that is
it's huge, right?
Like that's like a month of pay right there. Like just a month of pay. Yeah.
Man, to be honest, like those days are like so exciting. Like your first 1K day, you can never replicate that again, ever.
100%. Yeah. No, like, feeling like the dopamine rush is just way out.
It's almost addictive, bro. You're just like, I feel like a degenerate gambler and I'm ready to just like throw everything at this, you know?
Right. Yeah.
That's funny, man. What do you think? Like, I wanted to ask you, do you have any next goals on your phone still? Do you still do that?
Yeah. So I just updated it to like 10K profit a day. Like that's kind of the target that I'd like to hit this year. Yeah. Which I know, like I didn't really get traction to like this second half of last year, and like it's just explosive. So it's like I have time to hit it. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
Nice, man. You'll get there, man. I have no doubt. That's cool. So yeah, man. I don't know if I have any other questions for you except for like, if you were to tell someone who is in your position, let's call it early or summer 2023, what would you tell them to do that wanted to get into the online space, regardless if it was ecom, whatever?
Yeah, I think definitely having like, so I think a reason why I didn't really do that as well with the dropshipping stuff, looking back, is probably just not having like the course and like, well, I think course is one thing, right? Like just having the knowledge is one thing, but then it's like having the community and like having those weekly calls where you can show up and get feedback like, hey, this is what I'm facing, these are the challenges, both for motivation and feedback. I think those are two big things, and the accountability, a few factors in that. So yeah, definitely networking is also very, very key. Like from that, you start branching out and networking with people. Just get a better understanding of the space, whatever space you're in. Like you want to understand like what are the fundamentals of this game? Like how do I win in this game?
Yeah.
Because each game is played a little bit differently. So you want to really understand that very, very well. Yeah, I think community and networking are probably like the biggest part. Right. I think like any space probably.
Yeah. And don't forget hard work, my guy. You put in a lot of fucking effort.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing. It's like just like becoming obsessed with it, you know? Like just I would spend like almost all my time on this to basically get traction.
Yeah, I mean, you still do, don't you? Like you're pretty deep in this shit every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a game, so it's just you just want to keep playing that game.
Yeah.
Like keep playing up, like
yeah.
So yeah.
Does it still really excite you?
Yeah. No, I still like. Obviously now it's like this like the same numbers don't excite me as much. It's like because you're obviously trying to grow. Like you get used to whatever you've hit. And I've talked to some other big guys. They're like 100K profit a month doesn't excite me. Like that's what other people like. To them, like that's like they're beyond that now. It's like they need to be hitting higher numbers to like feel anything really. But yeah, no, like I still get excited and like I always have to like reflect back and think like this is actually crazy. Like the level of like profit you can do in like a day and a month, like from before to now, like just it's like a huge, like insane like difference, basically.
Yeah, it's funny, man. My buddy says like perpetual dissatisfaction is the key to success.
Yeah, that I guess like keeps saying, right? It's like how do I just keep getting better? Like how do I keep improving?
Yeah. I was asking my buddies the other day. I was like, does anything like excite you? Like what really gets you like going these days? It was an interesting conversation for guys that have been in this space for a really long time, you know? And just like the goals are just like are so massive now, which is fantastic. But yeah, man, it's you're always chasing that finish line.
Yeah.
All right, bro. I appreciate it. If anyone wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way? Or you can tell people to fuck off. I don't really care what you do. It's up to you,
all
man.
good. Yeah, I guess probably Instagram would probably be the best bet.
Cool.
I think it's at VG1. I'm pretty sure.
Cool. Yeah, we can plug it below. I'll get my girls on it. They'll add that below. And yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on. It's been fun. Thanks for the full breakdown of how you run your campaigns. I think that's fantastic. I think it's actually going to help a lot of people. Like we're going to make the title of this like how to scale your business with CBOs or something, you know, like CBO big cap. Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Appreciate having me on for sure.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.